guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brandy and I'm so glad that you're here. Today I've got a really good story for you guys. Yeah, and if you don't know what I do here, I talk about dark history, mostly dealing with witches and vampires and werewolves and all that fun magical stuff. And I put my makeup on at the same time, and I will list below what I put on my face, but I just kind of do it to, keep my hands busy and tell you guys these really cool dark history stories that not a lot of people have ever heard of. But this one, if you guys have been watching my videos, you probably have heard of it now, and it's called BLOCKULA, and that's what we're going to talk about today. It's the island of BLOCKULA, the mythical part of it, and what it's actually still used for today. So if that sounds awesome to you, hit that subscribe button and stick around, because we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So we are talking about the island of BLOCKULA today, and if you don't remember what BLOCKULA is, it's this island where supposed witches would take children and they would take part in Sabbats and all this stuff, and a lot of people got put to death through history because of this supposed island. And it all just kind of came upon, it's really a kid's idea, to be honest with y'all. Like, as I did more background on it, we know that the first time that BLOCKULA was mentioned is in, I believe it's 1597, and I covered that witch trial as well with Agnes Sampson. This place, BLOCKULA, is a place where you go to worship the devil, is what the word was being spread in the 1500s. Okay, like I say, we first heard about it in the North Berwick witch trial, which I know I did that trial not too long ago, so if you want to go back and watch that video, you absolutely can. But these, supposedly, okay, this is going to be the majestical part, and then we're going to talk about what actually is going on there and all that fun stuff. So BLOCKULA means blue hill, and this island has another name too, and it's Bla Jungfrun, and that means the blue maiden. So it's really like a little hilly island sticking out of the water. It's very rocky, has very, very thick rustic woods. But of course, back in the day, they said that, witches would gather there for these Sabbats that they would hold with the devil, supposedly. People were like, yeah, that's not too cool or whatever, but how are they getting there? It's an island, if all these witches are supposedly getting there, they're flying there. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes lots and lots of sense. They're flying there, okay. No, yeah, they said they flew there on all different kinds of things, okay, including people that were asleep. Sleeping people, that was one, okay. They flew on not just brooms. No, of course not. They flew on spits. Sorry, my dog's walking around. She's ADD. Like I say this every fucking episode, I swear. So, if you were lucky enough to get a sleeping person or a broomstick or a spit or any of those kind of things, then you could fly to BLOCKULA, the island of BLOCKULA or whatnot. Now, most of the time this required you bringing a kid. Yeah, you had to bring a child with you. Not only did they ride though, like broomsticks and people and stuff like that, they also rode horses and all that fun stuff, like horses and goats. Yeah, goats was one. Like, what? I mean, it is what it is, And so people flew on fence posts, and they flew on horses and goats. And so when they would get there would be this meadow, okay? This meadow of just like beautifulness, like this huge long meadow, right? And at the end of this meadow would be the devil's house, whatnot. And in the devil's house is where they would partake in eating and, talking about the evilness that they did. And not only in this house, there was also supposedly another room that was just for God and his angels to come and chill. Yeah, I read that. I did. Like, So in order to enter and be a part of Satan's little witch army, I guess you could say, on Blockula, you had to swear your allegiance to him. Like, you had to be like, yeah, you're the man, and you had to denounce God before you, like, if it was your first time going to Blockula, that's what you'd have to do. And then you'd have to prick your finger, okay, and sign this book. And this book would basically sell your soul to the devil, okay? And then you were in. Yeah, you were in. You were good to go. And so, therefore, you could partake in all these different parties and things like that. Now, let's talk about the children that they brought with them. The children were not really allowed to participate in anything. They supposedly, this is what the kids said, they don't really know or remember anything that happens there. They said they saw a white angel. I do know that. And they said that some of those angels wouldn't let them go into certain rooms of the house or something like that. And I mean, I'm telling you, we all know how big a trouble these kids got into. They got in a lot of trouble. Yes, they did. So you're probably wondering, why would these kids go to Blockula? Well, they were offered things like coats and shoes and a meal. Yeah, they were offered all that kind of stuff. And of course, if they refused, then they were taken against their will. The kid was. So you either took it or you got took. You feel me? Yeah, that's where we're at. And so there's a few things that would happen at these Sabbaths, okay? Now, you would go to the devil and confess your evil deeds. Oh, yes. Tell him all the evil things that you did that week. Oh, tell me all about it. He wants the tea on your evilness, okay? Now, if he liked what you were doing, like if you thought your evil deeds were really, you're just doing a stellar job, you know what I mean? Then you would get whipped with snakes, you know? If you're just doing an excellent job at being evil or whatnot, you would get whipped with snakes, and that evidently that's a good thing, okay? But if you were just like a terrible, horrible, just utter terrible person, you were extra special. Yeah. Guess what you got to do? You got to have relations with the devil. Oh yeah, the more bad stuff you did, the higher the reward, if that. But let me tell you this. Some of these kids would say that the preacher would come looking like a 12-year-old boy, okay? Like, they have a full-on description of this man. It was said that the devil would appear in a gray coat and red and blue stockings. He had a red beard, a high-crowned hat with linen dividers of all different colors, and wrapped around it was a long garter upon his stockings. That's what they say. I'm not sure what. I'm just envisioning a man in a tall hat, to be honest with y'all. But that's what they say that he dressed like, okay? And so then now it's time to partake in some food. You know, of course they're going to sit down and they're going to eat. And the devil has all of his, like, right-hand witches sitting right there next to him. Like, the closer you are to him, like, the more powerful of a witch, supposedly, that you are. So while the kids, they would just stand outside the doors while they ate. And like I say, there was a kid said they'd seen a white angel, and that was reminding them to keep the Lord's commandments and also stop children from going in. And so, yeah, I guess there was, you know, according to some kids, that the presence of God was there as well. So what do they eat when they decided to chow down and all this fun stuff? Well, it could be a joke or it could be incredibly, awesomely delicious. But it was always the same thing. And it was broth with coleworts and bacon, oatmeal, bread spread with butter, milk, and cheese. Okay, now, sometimes this would be really, really yummy. Okay, it would be super delicious, and everybody's like, oh, nom, 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 this is great. And other times, it would taste awful. And when it tasted bad, and the witches were like, oh my God, this tastes so bad, the devil would just laugh. he would just laugh. I think it was the funniest thing because they never knew if what it was going to be. If it was going to be a good meal or if it was going to be a bad meal. You know what I mean? Of course, after the meal, there are things that they would do as well. After the meal, they would get up and they would dance and, you know, have a really good time. And then they would start fighting. Yeah, and like cussing each other out. And then it turns into pure debauchery, basically, is what they say. Like first it starts out pretty chill, and then everybody's just, you know, like there's like relations happening everywhere. You know, there's people talking to the devil and talking about all the sins that they did and getting praised for it and all this other stuff. And the devil would play the harp as well. He played the harp. Yeah. That's a little fun fact about the devil. He was a harp player. At Blockula, that's what these are the types of things that would happen there. Okay. And this poor island got the worst name because supposedly all these witches would fly there, right? And there's also been, and I'm going to go over those, that there's a couple of other places in history that witches supposedly gathered, you know, like hillsides and things of that nature. Before we talk about the other places, though, I want to tell you guys about how these kids felt when they came back, okay, from supposedly going to Blockula. They would not remember anything, okay? They couldn't remember, they would have fits. They would like be in like trances and like not talk for like an entire day. Like they would not have any remembrance of anything being there. But yet, here's all those stories that they just come up with, right? Like they're like, oh yeah, there's an angel there, and they're doing that. But yet the next day they're like, they can't do anything. You see how the stories can get crazy. There is a tradition now because of these places, and I'm going to tell y'all about it here in just a second. But there's another hill. This is actually a hill in Finland. And I'm going to put the word right there because I cannot say it. Not even a little bit. There's the word. That's where it's at. And it's actually called Ghost Mountain. Okay. So what is Ghost Mountain? Well, Ghost Mountain is a place supposedly where there were young women's souls. And those young women's souls were there because they died a virgin. Yes. And so they come out and they haunt and all that fun stuff. Yes, they do. First, let's talk about the afterlife. What they're there because that's the beginning of their afterlife or whatnot, you know? Supposedly, these souls are these young women's souls. That's why they're there, right? Now they celebrate these witches, and they do so in the coolest freaking way, guys. Over there on Easter, they do this. Okay, I got stuff in my eyes. So now, in Sweden and parts of Finland, they dress up as little witches and stuff on Easter. And they go, and it's like our Halloween, only they do it on Easter. And they dress up like little witches, little old men, little old women, and they go from house to house and they give out treats. And it's all because of this, you know, Blockula Island place, all because of these different, you know, areas. So supposedly, if you dress up as a witch, then you're disguised as one of them, and it's especially fun for kids because then the kids won't get taken, you know, supposedly to Blockula Island. There's so many different stories, the magical stories that come from that place. It's absolutely insane. But there's also some kind of true stories that surround that area that is very, very shady as well that I came across. And you know that when the captain of a ship doesn't really like that area, you know there's something wrong with it. So on this island, it is very, very bare. It's very rocky. Like I say, lots and lots of rocks, things like that. It is just not a good thing. And so sailors would actually say the name of the island when they passed by it. The young, cannot remember the other name. Blah Jungfrung, that would prevent any bad spirits or anything from coming from the island and getting onto the ship. Not only that, they would not even get close to the island because supposedly this island would have these raging storms. Okay, yeah, these huge ragers. And so if you got too close to the island, and because it was such a rocky area and so densely with like, you know, woods, you could easily get wrecked on that. You know what I mean? And so if you got close to the island, they say that storm would just brew. And if you didn't say this phrase or the name of the island when you sailed by it, then the spirits were going to come out the woods and they're going to come get you. A man named Carl von Linn actually visited the island in 1741. And what he said about it was this, okay, word for word. If any place in the world looks horrible, this certainly is one of the most atrocious. So it's not a beautiful island, okay, not by any means. And there's also something else a little bit spooky about it. The fact that there's this huge stone labyrinth. Yeah, and nobody knows how it got there. Not anybody, nobody. It's just this huge, I'll put pictures up, it's this huge stone labyrinth on the island that nobody even knows how I got there. There's so many caves on the island. There's actually one cave that they found that has a huge opening when you walk in, like a huge cavern opening. And then on the side of the cavern, up underneath, was a fireplace that was built. So it was almost like somebody had lived there at some point in time. Somebody had carved out these stones. Somebody had also laid this labyrinth of stones. And of course, you're not allowed to take any of the stones. They stay there. I mean, as much bad luck is around that island, I wouldn't be taking a stone either. I'm just saying. There's a guy named Olaus Magnus that, of course, thinks that the labyrinth is there because that's where the witches used to do their sabbats and, you know, their rituals and things like that. And so that's what he says that the labyrinth was put there for. He thinks the witches did it. So, which is, I mean, that's a funny thought, you know, but no, I seriously doubt that. Now we get to the 1900s, and guess what's discovered on this island? Between 1904 and 1925, they were mining red granite out of there. Yes, they were. Red granite, because it was Germany that liked to use it as decoration, I guess. I guess they carved it and stuff like that and used it. I imagine they use it probably like countertops or something, you know, because I got granite countertops, you know, but they had to make 3 quarries for this place, right? And so they're trying to do these quarries and they're trying to get, and so they did it for a long time, but it was screwing up the island. It was doing really, really bad on the island, screwing it up. And so this guy comes along and he wants to stop the quarries. He's like, look, y'all are tearing this island to pieces for just some granite, you know, just because it's, you know, this beautiful red granite or whatnot. And so this man decides he wants to save the island. So his name is Torsten Kruger. He bought the land and stopped the mining. Yeah, like, yay, that's so awesome. I mean, it's one thing to go there and you know, mine for like a few pieces and having fun, you know, and stuff like that. But to build full-on quarries, it's just not a good idea. You feel me? It's just, no, not a good idea. And so anyway, then, on February 5th, 1926, they make the island into a national park. So now nobody can do anything to it anymore. Now, also located on this island was a lighthouse. I am not sure how the lighthouse got there. It could have been a military thing for all we know. But there was a lighthouse on the island, and they ended up deactivating it, and they moved it to a different part. They took it down, and they moved it, and now it's like a tourist attraction. Turned it off and make sure it didn't work, you know, and all that stuff. And now it's a tourist attraction. But it was located on BLOCKULA Island, and now it's moved to the city of another word that I will put right there at the bottom because I can't say it. Yeah, so now this lighthouse is a tourist attraction for people, you know, and of course you can actually go to BLOCKULA Island as well. I believe you have to have like a permit or something. You have to have permission before you go, because it is like a national forest type place or whatnot. So anyways, that is the story of BLOCKULA Island. You know, along with this story, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to remember that there were children that made up these stories, you know, most of the time because they were pressured by adults to give some kind of confession on witchcraft. This island led to so many deaths. It really did. It led to a lot of deaths. And that's the one thing that I just really gets me. It's just a place that these people could not even get to, and they're trying to say that, you know, they're the ones responsible for this labyrinth because they did sacrifices and things right there, and that there was this big house, you know, which there was no big house. There was a lighthouse. We don't know. I don't know. I couldn't find out when the lighthouse was built, or who built it there, but I do know that it is an amazing story because it's a good lesson, and what comes out of it is this thing they do at Easter. You know, not only is it kind of a tradition of not being taken by a witch, you know, it's also to honor the people that ended up losing their life because they were accused of going to this island. I was so excited to do this story on BLOCKULA because I say it so much, and so many of our, you know, witch trial stories. And so I had to just kind of do the deep dive on it and see, you know, see what was going on with it. And I found out a lot of different things, you know. The coolest thing to me is the labyrinth. I think that's really rad. The fact that they don't know who put it there, and it's so precise, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. I kind of wish we know how that happened, but we don't, unfortunately. But just when we talk about BLOCKULA, remember this story, you know, that all these crazy things happened there, supposedly. Even though they say there's this huge long meadow, and now we're talking about it's really, really woody and really, really rocky. And so really the only way you could get there would be to supposedly fly, you know, because even sailors wouldn't go anywhere near this place. No, they're like, no, thank you. I'm good. You know, Jean-Fan, the word that I can't ever remember because I can't remember. But anyways, I hope this one works. I tried to do this yesterday and I ended up deleting the whole entire video. Yeah. So, but I am thinking about starting a new series, and I wanted to run it by you guys. So I was thinking about, because in the summer and spring I am in the woods a lot. And so I figured I could tell you guys some stories while I'm doing some hiking and stuff like that, and we can see some cool stuff. Bring some of the native history back, because I really want to go to Nakalula Falls. You know, bring the camera, all that fun stuff, take video. My folks don't live too far from there. So anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope your week started better than mine, because yesterday was bonkers. But anyway, oh, there it is. I said it. Anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.